this computer. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, it's going to be a record. Yeah, I'm going to start with not just well-being, but the spirit of being itself. What does being mean? From being comes well-being. And the spirit of being is something which we have been interacting on in quite a few sessions. Basically, it is being at one, being in oneness with the entire infinite, with the entire universe, entire existence, which, if you recall, is called Sat, entire universal total consciousness, which is Chit, and Anand, which is I can't describe in English. So we are basically talking about a state of Sat Chit Anand. So as we start, can we do a short little meditation on the Sat Chit Anand within each of us, universal and within? Atma Shakti, Atma Buddhi, Atma Sukh, Anand, Sat Chit Anand. Yes, very good. And my favorite Mahavakyas, Sat Chit Ananda, I am, Sat Chit Ananda Tvam, Sat Chit Ananda Sarvi. Okay, now we're ready to start with, okay, this is the concept, the spirit behind well-being. Now, what does well-being actually mean? Okay, when you're living in well-being, what does it mean? And all of us absolutely want to, need to, must live in well-being, correct? So what does it imply? Now I'm going to start with the very fundamental one of emotional well-being. What is emotional well-being? What does it mean? What is it all about? Isn't it being at peace, smiling, with full of love, care, karuna, with self and with all beings? Peace, love, smiles with everything in the universe, starting with oneself. Emotion, can you feel, can you visualize that kind of emotional well-being? Okay. Yeah, can you visualize it? Can you feel it in your heart? Aha, you're at peace, you're happy, really deeply happy, and love for everyone, everything, kindness towards everyone, everything. Feel that in your heart? Isn't that well-being? Wouldn't you feel well if that is your feeling? That's well-being, emotional. Mental well-being is something we understand a little better, being strong, clear, and of course peaceful. But the trick of mental well-being is, can I be all this right in the middle of life? Life's ups and life's downs. And one little simple trick, when facing life's downs, we have been doing in the earlier sessions, when you're feeling down, what do? You climb up. And how do you climb up? The ma method. I accept, okay, I'm down. This is something terrible, negative, whatever in my life happening to me. People are doing it, whatever the negative may be. I accept it. U, the capital U, I trust. At the heart of trust is U. I accept, I trust the Ma, which is the infinite. And it's the simplest way of handling the negatives of life. Now, the even funny, but even trickier, how do I handle the positives of life? The little nice little things that happen, some gifts you get, kindness you suddenly get. Actually, we have not been, we don't know really what to do with it. So one very simple answer I'd like to share with you. Okay, just being grateful. Thank you, God. These gifts are coming from you. Just being a little grateful to God for these little gifts. Maybe big gifts, maybe little gifts. But there's nothing to say, no, no, I don't want it, or I have not. There's nothing like that. It's difficult sometimes to accept the positives that come to us. So you take the positives as a gift from God, and you really want to absorb it. Whatever gift you get, you share it on as a gift on your own. It need not be the same gift. Whatever you have, your gifts, your abilities, you share them. That's the best way to digest the gift which comes to you from the universe. Take it with a thank you and share something, anything. Share with others. So that's this thing. Social well-being, which again it's quite complex, which we seem to have no idea. Hello, hello, kaise ho, or TikTok on your laptop and mobile. That's not social well-being. Social well-being, the heart of social well-being is again the three Mahavakyas. Okay, I am Tvam Sarva Satchitananda. But there's a very major but. Can I do this to all people near and far? Sometimes far is easier than near. Okay, so social includes people near and people far. Then another question comes up with social well-being. There are different types of people. It's easy to wish a very happy Mahavakyas to good human beings, Sattvic. Can I wish it to Rajasic who are all the time talking about money, money, money? मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये मैं तेरा चोरी करूंगा. I want that kind of people. Can we do it? Yes, we can. And as we do it, that is social well-being. Can I even do it to the totally negative ones? The ones who harm others, the ones who wish ill for others, what Gita defines as tamasic. Can I do it with tamasic people? Yes, I can. And can you imagine if you have that kind of social well-being, jo bhi insan ho, I can see the Satchit Anand in that insan, near to me, far away, jo bhi ho. Can you imagine the well-being you are feeling? You have no enmity, no negatives, absolutely nothing towards any human being. Isn't that truly social well-being? Then, of course, there is another factor. Nowadays, it has come majorly environmental well-being. Uh, Environment is affecting us a lot, mentally, physically, everywhere. And this is something obvious. All of us want a good environment to live in. We would like to have, I'm talking about now physical environment. We've covered the emotional environment. Physical environment, nature, trees, beauty, everyone likes it. So environmental well-being. And then last, the only one we actually focus on is physical well-being. When we say well-being, we mean physical well-being. Unfortunately, we don't even realize that there are so many different aspects of well-being. Physical well-being is much more obvious: good health, good energy, vitality, getting well soon. That's the physical well-being. So just I'll run through it. Well-being, emotional. Aha, I'm at peace with जो भी हुआ. Mental, powerful, strong mind. Social, तरह तरह के लोग के साथ I can still do the Mahavakyas. Environmental, and then physical. Okay, so is that okay up to now? I'm okay with if someone seriously wants to on chat or this thing. Any questions? If not, I'll continue. Okay, so first we're defining what well-being is all about. Now let's go to how do you get this well-being? It's nice to define, to understand, but how do you get this well-being? And the very simple answer is what we've been doing for sessions after sessions. The most basics come from the Bhagavad Gita once again, because it's done very thoroughly. It's there in other cultures, in other ways, in other books. Buddhism talks about it. But for me, Bhagavad Gita is doing it in such a simple, basic language in terms of the yogs. The four yogs all combined. Bhakti Yoga, imagine the feeling of devotion, love, thank you to the entire universe. Love, devotion, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, जो भी मन में आए, विचार आए, नहीं विचार आए, it's that state of bhakti, a state of God, you are there with me all the time. Can you imagine what it happens, what it does for your well-being? When you can see God all the time, everywhere. And that is bhakti. Feeling, seeing God everywhere in everything, everyone. Then Jnana Yoga is a more conscious aspect of bhakti. Yes, I know there is oneness. I know there is Satchitan. I have experienced it. It's the conscious mind now feeling the bhakti. That's Jnana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga is concentrated. Nothing disturbs me. I focus on the three Mahavakyas. I focus on Satchitananda, on silence. I focus on Shunyata, emptiness. And out of that emptiness, I feel the Purnam, the completeness. Out of feeling the completeness, I go into silence. So as we talked in Buddhism, Purnam, Shunyata. Shunyata, Purnam. That's the dhyana and of course karma, the one which occupies most of our lives. The other three yogas, bhakti is in the background, jnana is an occasional. We don't go on and on with jnana all the time. Dhyana also is focused only short time, but most of our life we have to spend in action, karma. So simple rules of karma, whatever I do, whatever actions I take come out of universal oneness. Out of that feeling which I got from bhakti, out of that feeling which I got from jnana, I do the karma. And to the best of my ability, but concentrate, हाँ मुझे करना है, उससे क्या मिलने वाला है, मेरा फायदा, दूसरों को फायदा, whatever, that all comes secondary, tertiary, doesn't even matter. It's better not to think about it. It is better to focus on the source of it rather than कहाँ जाएगा, क्या होगा. Forget about the results. Just forget. And believe me, if you do that, the results come absolutely magical. You get shocked, literally shocked. ये कैसे हुआ? In my wildest dreams, I would not have imagined this kind of effect of Karma Yoga. But it works. That's what happens. Okay, now I want to share a quick this thing of my friend Kabir, who gave me a very interesting practical view of yogs, all put it all together in a very down to earth sense. So I'm going to share it quickly and I'm going to, okay, Kabir is on a group, on this 100 Living Parallels group. So you can contact him. He takes some beautiful sessions on the asanas also and on the meaning of yoga in the bigger sense also. Okay, so I'm just more or less talking about what he talked, which I really liked. First aspect of yoga is to be connected with your own body. See how practically it starts. He says yoga starts with your own body. Then connect the breath which comes from outside, prana, or even oxygen if you, though correctly it is prana. The prana flows into your body. So you're connecting your body with the energy, the oxygen around you. So your body is connected with itself, first step. Your body is connected through the breath. The breath, prana around you comes into your body, goes back into the world. And can you see the connection between the body and the outside? Next, even more solid connection is by senses. Just now, as you're sitting, you realize you're sitting on something, your feet are somewhere, your hands are somewhere. You're connecting. You're connecting with the outside world. Even your five senses are connecting with the outside world. You're doing yoga. If you understand the correct meaning, you are in a sense yoga. You are connected. We don't recognize it. You are connected with the outside world. So your body is connected with its surroundings. Then, of course, the more subtle and the more beautiful one, you are connected with all of nature through your eyes, through all your senses, connected with nature. Now, nature means you're going into a wider circle of yoga, a wider connection of yoga. With other people, the difficult part of yoga, which we have been even today focusing on, the social well-being part, seeing the Mahavakyas for everyone. So yoga of connection with all beings. And finally, of connection with the infinite oneness. That is the ultimate. That is where we started. That is where the well-being comes from. Well-being itself comes from being connected with the oneness. So here Kabir has taken us into a quick journey, starting with the body, with the breath, with the senses, touching here, I'm touching the mouse, you know. So contact with the senses, with your surroundings, with people, the whole connection with nature and with oneness. So he puts it very beautifully as a flow of yoga. How to do the yoga. Okay? So please contact Kabir if you really want to know more. He did it really beautifully. I was really impressed. Okay. Now I want to share some. If I have done it, sorry, I've been doing a lot of workshops recently. So if I have done it, please put up your hand, even your feet, and tell me stop. Okay? I'm going to tell you a story of Karma Yoga, defined by a person called Viktor Frankl as living life with a purpose. Viktor Frankl was a Jew, a Jewish psychiatrist, come something else. He was a double PhD in understanding the mind. He was born he was a Jew, he was born in Germany in the World War II days. He was living in Germany. He was imprisoned and thrown into a concentration camp. Most of us have heard of Nazi concentration camps. Okay, so now please tell me if I have told this story before. On this session. No, I'm not. Vilas, you're saying I'm not, correct? Okay, fine. So, okay, then I can continue. And he did something absolutely amazing with his life. He used the philosophy of an ancient German philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, every one of us to really live life, well-being, which we are talking about, you need to have a purpose for living. कुछ जरूरी होना चाहिए, you have to have an aim of living. And Nietzsche wrote कि if you have a why, कारण for जीने के लिए कोई कारण होना चाहिए, and a larger life purpose, not खाना पीने के कारण, that is not called a living reason for living, that is a compulsory living. कोई कारण, कोई aim, कोई आगे देखने की दृष्टि, मुझे ये करना है, can you see करना, कर्म, ये कर्म है मेरे लिए, that kind of reason for living, and larger, पेट के लिए नहीं, that is fruits, that's not karma yoga. Karma yoga coming from a completely different world, a completely different surroundings, from a double PhD doctor who was thrown into the Nazi concentration camps, tortured for years. He was sent to 4 concentration camps, physical torture intense, mental torture intense. Nietzsche had told, if you have a why, a reason for living, you can manage to live through any condition. कोई भी परिस्थिति में हम जी सकते हैं अगर हमें कोई कारण है जीने का. I want to live for this reason. I have to do something with my life. I was born with a larger purpose. God has put me on earth with a big, large purpose. I have to fulfill it. To bloody hell with if I'm in concentration camps. And he actually did it. He counseled, made people co-prisoners at peace. You know what it was like? They would just take 20, 30, 40. I'm taking you to the showers for a bath. And they would be thrown into the gas chamber. Afterwards, everyone knew. Can you imagine the horror? You don't know what's going to happen to you. And he counseled these kind of people. He made them feel good. He made them accept life. He made them feel peace. Emotional well-being under these conditions he could bring about. Imagine karma yoga of bringing about emotional well-being to prisoners who are under torture, who saw no end in sight. And the miracle, itna hi nahi kiya, he started interacting and bringing peace to the jailers. Most of us would have said, Sala mar jayega to acha hai. He said, no, they are also human beings. Can you imagine the idea of having kindness towards people who are torturing you and your fellow inmates. Torture करने वाले के लिए अच्छे विचार कर सकता था. And he was a real person. No? I mean, his books are there. He has written a lot. He has actually lived a life. In fact, he died, I think, in 1990 or something. He came out of all the tortures. He converted his fellow prisoners. He converted some of the jailers into kindness. They actually became kinder people with whatever they could do. Itna tak kar saka. So that's Viktor Frankl. Another source of yoga which I want to parallel from my friend Ralph Waldo Emerson, whom I do quote once in a while. He talks about compensation. ये मुझ पे हुआ तो मैं क्या करूं? करेक्ट. नॉर्मल आइडिया है यार, कोई इंसाफ है ही नहीं इस दुनिया में. एंड वी गो इनटू द आइडिया, ठीक है मेरे साथ कुछ गैर इंसाफ हुआ, पीपल हैव बीन अनफेयर टू मी, अगली दुनिया में मुझे इंसाफ मिलेगा. या मैंने बुरा किया तो अगले भाव में उसको उसने किया तो उसको भोगना पड़ेगा. ओके, दैट मे बी ट्रू, बट एमर्सन्स कॉम्पेंसेशन सेज इट इज नॉट. अगले भाव की बात ही नहीं करता है. Compensation can be here and now. And in fact, Bhagavad Gita also talks about, when it talks about the three parts, I mentioned that in one of the last one, I think. तुम अगर तुम्हारी गाड़ी चलाते जाओ full speed over the cliff, you will fall down. अगले भाव के लिए ठहरना नहीं पड़ता है. Your गाड़ी will go down the cliff right now. So that is the consequences of your action. That's what the Bhagavad Gita talks about. So Emerson talked about two aspects of compensation. What we do, every action we do has an effect on us. The simple one is pointing fingers. Can you see? Pointing fingers. If you point a negative finger at someone, what happens? 3 fingers negatively point back at you, and God is the witness. Point a negative at someone, 3 negative fingers point back at you, and God is a witness. It happens. Same time, point a positive finger at you, at someone. Tum Satchitanand ho. 3 fingers point back at you, and you feel the well-being. So Emerson was talking about what we do to others. Now he's talking about a more difficult one. What about the things which happen to us? How do you respond to what happens to me? If a bad thing happens, he says, go back to Satchitanand. Don't let it upset you. See it as a victory. A bad thing, he says, is a reminder. Chalo, jago, utho. Don't sit and cry. Okay, ठीक है, बुरा हुआ तो क्या हुआ, उससे रिमाइंडर मिला. तुम कौन हो, तुम क्यों जन्मे हो, तुम क्या कर सकते हो तुम्हारी जिंदगी में. A good thing happens, as I was telling earlier, thank you, and I will share some goodness with other people. So that's Emerson's view of causes. So again, I'm a little summing up. We talked about the spirit. We talk about what does well-being alive mean, ways of well-being, mainly the yogs from different languages. Now let's go into the more practical part. What causes ill health? Now this is, of course, very controversial, because if I were to talk to anyone with a Western mindset, they will probably throw this discussion and me out of the room. But in India, we do have a different belief. The Ayurveda system, even the European homeopathy system, shares this belief of ill health. Okay, we'll go back to our language which we are listening. Basic ill health comes when your heart and mind are into Satchitanand, non-Satchitanand. When you are feeling weak, non-Sat, fear, weakness, kamzori, opposite of Chit, समझ में नहीं आता है, गुस्सा, anger, brain is not functioning. You're not having any kind of universal consciousness. तो छोड़ो, छोटा consciousness भी नहीं है. Your consciousness has become इतना. And of course, opposite of Anand, क्या करूं? misery, unhappiness. So weakness, asat, non-truth, weakness that comes with non-truth, non-chit, no consciousness, petty consciousness, and non-anand. That and our reactions to these. This is sickness. Okay, now I'm. Okay, you want to break anyone? Have I been talking too much? I would like to. Um, yeah, I would like to ask her to say something because I'm going to the parallels topic, which is quite different now. Anyone, please?
Good.
Okay, yeah, but
Yeah.
anyone else, please?
You can continue.
Okay, are you sure nothing to ask? Though, of course, all these things I have discussed up to now, more or less, we have talked about all these things in earlier sessions. But now I'm going to in a very different area, which we have never talked about. Okay, now the scientific parallels for well being. Science in the West. Okay, let's talk about science of health, which is just a second. What we call allopathic treatment. It's the only, up to now, Western way of healing. They don't call it healing, treating sickness, the allopathic method. Now, today, the world is realizing that this method is so mechanical, so separatist. Do you know how much separatist? I don't know if some of you have had experience. Uh, there's so much of specialization. Each specialist will send you to another specialist, and each one says, "Oh, मेरा काम नहीं है." I've known actual cases, people very near to me physically and mentally. Kidney specialist के पास गया, he gave some powerful medicine which started creating breathing problems. You go to a lung specialist says, "Oh, no, 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 your heart is not in order, go to a heart specialist." So just dance around from specialist to specialist. This is the separatist way of Western allopathy and mechanical. सीखो, बीमार हो, ये दवाई ले लो, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिख के देता हूँ. I don't want to hear anything more. दिया ना दवाई, काम हो गया मेरा. Mechanical, utterly mechanical. Of course, there are exceptions. A lot of exceptions also. No, not a lot, but there are exceptions. Good human beings who actually try to heal, who actually try to care. What is this unpinned video? What does that mean? Okay. All right. So that is the common allopathic system, which I'm sorry to say, unfortunately, we are also following blindly. We have forgotten our own culture, Ayurveda, which is completely different. Remember the word Veda? It comes from the Vedas. It's a thousands of year old health system. It is holistic. It is not separatist. It is not mechanical. The cures are very different. But okay, we have just become followers of the West. So we are paying for the consequences. इसकी दवाई ले लो, एक गोली से ये साइड इफेक्ट हुई, उसको वो गोली ले लो, ये ले लो, कुछ नहीं हुआ, ऑपरेशन कर दो, काट डालो कुछ भी. More and more doctors in India, fortunately, are also realizing the limitations of this system. I'm collecting a group of people whom I know. One of them, she's not taking part today. One of them was the chief radiologist of Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital, and she understood. Bas radiation de do, radiation de do. But radiation is also a lot of suffering, no? You're creating suffering and not necessarily healing. Okay, sometimes it heals, sometimes it doesn't, but don't go do it blindly, na. So I think most of us are now starting to be aware of the limitations, the shortcomings of the allopathic system. West has also started seeing holistic healing instead of this tukre mein healing karna. Holistic healing, holistic living, holistic feeling, which now changes over not body के इलाज, mind के psychiatric इलाज. No, it holistic healing has a holistic vision. It says body, minds, human beings, the social environment, the physical environment are all connected with energy. Now they're even using two words for it. I'm talking about Western advanced medical doctors, advanced in the evolved sense. They are using terms like prana. They're using terms like a Chinese term, chi, which means universe, same as prana, universal energy. They are understanding that the prana has to flow through us. All of us. They are using things like this for healing. The prana system of India, the chi system of talked about by Chinese. Um, sorry, one second. Okay. Now, with your permission, I want to go a little more into depth, little understanding of the immunity system and how it works. Today, especially, there is so much of terror and misunderstanding about COVID. COVID, mar gaya. And then the opposite. Arey, mere ko kya hone wala hai? You know, two extremes of responses to COVID. I was the second one, no? By the way, in the beginning. बाद में थोड़ा दिमाग चला. It's not मेरे को क्या होने वाला, lakhs of people are dying. So, how do you handle this? What is the holistic approach? Now, to understand that, now thank you to Western science. They have studied, done a lot of research, that our brain emits, as far as healing is concerned, 4 major chemicals. Okay, I'm going to talk one line on each of the chemicals, and they are very, very necessary to our life, to our entire living process. Okay, and how these chemicals work is actually quite simple. The chemicals are released by neurons, which are brain cells. They are released into the blood system. These neurons go to different parts of the body. They send a short, small electrical message to another neuron, which again gets affected by the first neuron का effect. It's like, you know, in a crowd, एक आदमी दूसरे को थप्पड़ मारता है तो जाके तीसरे को जाके मार के आता है. Something like that. So neurons do that. That's their function. Now, what message you are giving to the neurons, that depends on which chemical is being released. So as I said, there are 4 major, no, there are many minor, but we talk about 4 major neurochemicals. One is called endorphin, ENDOR. You can see this in Google or anywhere, or you can just, we don't need to go too much into it. Endorphin, yes, endorphin reduces pain. Unfortunately, its effect is only temporary. कुछ वक्त के लिए पेन कम होती है. And because it reduces pain, the Western medical system keeps on giving you drugs which release endorphin, and finally you get addicted to the drugs. This pain relief by endorphin is very temporary. It's not a permanent thing. Second chemical, but it does help. Okay, in emergency, बहुत ही दर्द हो गया तो endorphin is absolutely necessary. That is why the body is making it. The second neurochemical is called dopamine. And if you, I don't know whether it's true or not, it's the word dope. You know what the word dope means? Nasha, nashile drugs, dope. Dope khaya, to it motivates you into action. Alcohol, cigarettes, all these trigger off dopamine. Cigarette पिया, क्या लगता है? Alcohol पिया, अरे अभी तो सारी दुनिया को मैं ये कर दूंगा. These are dope. Dopamine is released. They motivate you into action. चलो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. But again, it's temporary, and they end with negative effect. So endorphin and dopamine are temporary movers. They move you from a state of pain, from a state of कुछ नहीं होता है, चल उठ रहे आगे चल. But they are addictive and temporary. Now the two positive ones, which are long lasting, really long lasting, and the method to release them is very simple. It's under your control. One is called serotonin. Serotonin is a chemical. Uh, if you want, I can spell out all the four just after this, after I finish all the four. Serotonin comes when you do, it is released by the brain. When you do any action that is helpful to others, karma yoga, कर्म योग करने से सेरोटोनिन रिलीज होता है. कैन यू सी द ब्यूटीफुल पैरेलल्स व्हिच आर कमिंग. कर्मयोग जो भगवत गीता कहती थी हजारों साल पहले, टुडे साइंटिस्ट आर सेइंग अरे यार कर्मयोग करने से तो सेरोटोनिन पैदा होता है. एंड सेरोटोनिन गिव्स यू दैट फीलिंग, रियली फीलिंग ऑफ गुड विथ योरसेल्फ, विथ अदर्स, विथ फीलिंग जेन्युइनली बहुत कुछ अच्छा लगता है. अनलाइक एंडोर्फिन एंड डोपामाइन विच ओनली जगा देता है. These are peaceful chemicals. Serotonin किसी के लिए अच्छा किया, मुझे भी अच्छा लगता है. See the beautiful parallel of karma yoga. I feel it very enchanting to see. हजारों साल पहले इन्होंने यही बात किया था. करो ना, do something good. Don't expect a reward. अरे your reward internally भी आएगा, serotonin release होगा, अच्छा लगेगा ही. तुम्हें पैसा मिले या नहीं मिले, कोई गाली भी दे तो भी सेरोटोनिन तो आया ना, अंदर से आया. यू कैन नॉट बाय इट, इट कम्स फ्रॉम इनसाइड यू. एंड द अदर वन इज कॉल्ड ऑक्सीटोसिन. नाउ ऑक्सीटोसिन इज अ लिटिल डिफरेंट. ऑक्सीटोसिन इज आल्सो कॉल्ड अ लव केमिकल. इट इज व्हेन with people close, or maybe even people just now like we are doing, when you see another human being with love in their eyes, nazdiki se shayad, even in these kind of situations, but when you directly have love for another human being, oxytocin is released, and the effect of oxytocin is to have more love. Your heart gets filled with love. So love se shuruat karo, your whole heart and mind gets filled with love. Okay, now a little request please. Can we, all of us, can you go on video? I want to see everyone's face, and I want to have us share a little bit of serotonin and oxytocin. And okay, if you want, I can give you the names of the chemicals, anyone who wants to know. The first one is endorphin, pain reducer, ENDORPHIN, endorphin. The second one is dopamine, motivator into action. Both these two are temporary. Come on, rest of you, Jinesh, and who's M Khanna? Come on, video. अरे ऑक्सीटोसिन नहीं मिलेगा मुझे, तुमको भी नहीं मिलेगा. Okay, so endorphin and dopamine, the temporary, हाँ अच्छा लग गया. Then serotonin, the karma yoga chemical. Beautiful, no? Karma yoga chemical. किसने सोचा था कि your mind will release karma yoga chemicals? It's directly a karma yoga chemical. And okay, sorry, I forgot to spell. Endorphin, ENDORPHIN, dopamine, DOPAMINE, serotonin, SEROTONIN, oxy, OXY, TOCIN, oxytocin, the karma yoga. No, oxytocin is the love chemical. Okay, so let's let's generate oxytocin, right? Come on, Shilpa, don't you want oxytocin? Prenika? Shilpa, oxytocin. Prenika, oxytocin.
I'm on the road. Give me 2 minutes to park my car and then get into my apartment, okay?
Okay. I hope the oxytocin will wait for you. Darais, Rumika, Rumi. Okay. Can you get a feeling of what I'm trying to say? When we look at another human being with inner affection, with inner love, कितने अच्छे इंसान हो, Such a lovely human being. You are made by God. There's something so beautiful in you. There is such a Ananda in you. The meditation that we do, I am Atma Brahma. Are Tat Tvamasi, you are also Brahma. Tat Tvamasi, that is real love. And itna hi nahi. Then we go to the third Mahavakya, Sarvahi Etat Brahma. Can you imagine that amount of love you are releasing? What will you feel except love when you say, ke, aha, there is love in me for myself, for each one of you just now, for the entire universe? That's oxytocin. And tell me that it's difficult to release. And the feeling is so beautiful, all of us know it. I am sure even right now, yeah, I can see quite a few smiles. Even right now, we feel good, no? Naturally, we feel good. We are human beings. We are made for this. These are human chemicals. These are created by the body to make you feel good. So these were the four chemicals. Okay. So shall we continue? Now I want to go into a little more specific parallels by a very brilliant cancer specialist. I may have mentioned him earlier. Yes, I think I have. He was called Dr. Carl Simonton. He was one of the topmost doctors of Sloan Kettering Cancer Hospital in New York, I think. And it's supposed to be the world's best cancer hospital in the world. And he was the topmost. I don't know if he was in charge or whatever, topmost. And he found all my treatment, okay, it's helping a little bit, थोड़ा सा अच्छा होता है, वापस आता है, cancer remit भी होता है, वापस recur भी होता है. What is happening? I'm giving the best of treatment from the best center in the world, and yet people are not actually recovering. Recover होने के बाद भी दुखी होते हैं. He actually found that कि सुख नहीं आता है फिर भी, even if the cancer is gone, maybe the fear remains. वापस आ गया तो something is wrong. So he found this treatment is not right. Okay, देना पड़े तो दे दो treatment, but it's not enough. And interestingly enough, what's her name? Dr. Arya from Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital. She was the chief radiologist. This is in personal. She's in our group, by the way, this Living Parallel group. She came to the same conclusion. By itself, all these treatments are not enough. They are not working. And just कुछ है नहीं ना, तो send them for radiology, send them for chemotherapy. They are not willing to accept कि ठीक है थोड़ा सा फर्क पड़ता है. It's not that, but it's not a cure. It's not a cure. It's just temporarily helping you. So I'm talking about one of the senior most doctors in Bombay's Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital, Sloan Kettering, both are coming to the same conclusion. इससे ज़्यादा कुछ होना चाहिए. These are not the ways. Carl Simonton from this hospital started working on it. And he came to some unbelievable conclusions, which are exactly parallel with the Indian systems, the yogs, which we are talking about. First, he said that sab connected hai. You can't treat the body of cancer without treating the mind. You can't treat the mind without understanding the emotions. You can't treat the body and the mind and the emotions without considering the surroundings, the society. All these things are integrated. ये अलग अलग करने से सिर्फ बॉडी को रेडिएशन मारो, ठीक है, कैंसर मर जाएगा, बट इट कैन ऑलवेज कम अगेन. देन ही okay, he even found that then again this is the allopathic, we are just concentrating on the external factors. Cancer हो गया, external factor है, external treatment दो. He said नहीं. Do we realize, I don't know if any one of us has the idea, cancer does not come from outside at all. Cancer is not at all an external factor, not at all. Cancer is 100% internal, 100% internal. Okay, there are kind of external factors like tobacco, asbestos, but these doctors went to, ये क्यों लोग इतना tobacco लेते हैं? Then he found even the tobacco is connected with here. यहाँ कुछ बीमारी है इसलिए टबैको खाते रहते हैं, इसलिए स्मोक करते रहते हैं. यहाँ कुछ है इसलिए that craving for drugs, craving for tobacco is coming, and then cancer is coming. So he started saying, the even cancer is here, it starts here. And he started researching, he started understanding. Then, okay, a little detail about what is cancer, because people are so terrified. And most people are totally ignorant. I was till a few years back. You know what is cancer? Body cells, just natural human body cells, okay, which are a little larger in size than baki ke cells. Bas utna hi hai, just a little larger in size, okay, and they exist in every human body. That does not mean everyone has cancer. They are body, they're part of your body, they're part of your body cells. कोई कोई छोटे होते हैं, कोई कोई बड़े होते हैं. The cancer ones are a little bigger ones, so-called cancer ones. उस वक्त, at that point, there are no cancer, they're just part of your body. Now what happens? The negatives. We went into the causes of sickness. Asat, fear. मुझे क्या हो जाएगा? मेरे पैसे चले गए तो, मुझे बीमारी आ गई तो, मेरे लोगों ने मेरे साथ दुश्मनी की तो. Any kind of damn fear is asat. Instead of Sat Chit Ananda, you're getting into Asat. Achit. मैं ये करूँ तो मेरा वो हो जाएगा, मगर वो इतना मैंने वो just goes on round and round in the brain. No answers, no solutions. चक्कर. दिमाग गोल जाते रहता है. Achit, non-chit, non-clarity of thought, non-consciousness, crazy, mixed up, messed up consciousness. That's called non-chit. And non-anand, everyone understands. कितना दुखी हूँ, क्या करूँ, मेरी जिंदगी में ये होता है, वो होता है. Instead of doing a bloody, oh no करो ना. Okay, दुख है तुम्हें, दुख है. Accept it. Trust. ऊपर वाले के पे विश्वास रखो. रास्ता दिखेगा. बैठ के रोने से क्या रास्ता दिखने वाला है? करने में, कितना दुखी हूँ करने से दुख चले जाता है. Remember Buddha also was teaching the same thing, which we talked about in the Gita sessions also. दुख का इलाज ये नहीं है, रोना नहीं है. दुख का इलाज गोलियां लेना भी नहीं है. Even he went to cancer now. So he analyzed. For those of you, anyway, I'll just go through it. So cancer are these ordinary body cells. Okay, but the moment you start this non-sat, कितनी बीमारियां हैं, मैं भी बीमार हूँ, दुनिया में सब जगह बीमारियां हैं, पैसे का प्रॉब्लम है. You start crying out of weakness. Non-sat, non-chit, समझ में नहीं आता. Non-ananda, दुखी हूँ. These three are the specific causes of cancer. And he explains. Now, back to science. What happens is, these cancer cells, the larger body cells, are normally kept in control by the white blood cells of the body. They keep a balance. उनको ज़्यादा बढ़ने नहीं देते. Okay, तुम रहो, तुम्हारी जगह पे रहो. I won't fight with you. Stay where you are. But because of the negatives, the white blood cells start weakening. The negative chemicals start coming into the body. The white blood cells start weakening. They cannot keep a control on those larger cells. The larger cells keep multiplying, growing and growing, whether it's in the blood or it's in different body parts. When they grow in a body part, they become visible, internal or external. They become visible, and they're called tumors. Everyone has heard of the word tumor? It's just a growth of these enlarged cells. And look, it's interesting that the body still has that common sense. चल तेरे को ग्रो होना है ना, पागल के माफक एक जगह पे ग्रो होना. Okay, go in the stomach or of course brain is different, it's very dangerous. But foot or anywhere, tumors can come anywhere. But see, the body is still fighting. Okay, tumor hai, itna tumor hai. But our Western medic, काट डालो tumor. Okay, काट डाला. दूसरी जगह पे होगा, तीसरी जगह पे होगा. काटने से, what are you doing? You're curing the symptoms. You're not curing the sickness. You're only, not even curing, you're removing the symptoms. It's as stupid as हाथ में दर्द है ना, हाथ काट डालो, दर्द बंद हो गया. Of course दर्द बंद हो गया. So it's as stupid as that, a treatment. काट डालो, जो भी है वो. So that is tumor. And when the tumor is neglected, when it still grows further and further negative, now it becomes cancerous, totally wiping out the white blood cells. There is no resistance. And now, are maja karo, spread, go to all parts of the body, affect all parts of the body, stop all the functioning. That is called metastasis. It spreads to, stasis means place. Meta means many places. Now it goes to everywhere. चलो मजा करेंगे सब जगह. ये लोग तो इनवाइट किया मुझे, सब जगह जाएंगे. Of course, I'm making a comedy out of it, but it's actually scientific fact that from negative emotions, these okay, ठीक है यार, part of the body थे, तुमने जमा किए, फिर जमा होने के बाद कैंसर बन गया, कैंसर होने के बाद स्प्रेड हो गया. That's cancer. And okay, since we are at it, our favorite just now, corona. Okay. Now, corona is definitely from outside. It is a viral infection from outside. But the treatment is the same damn thing. Body says the same thing. Okay, coronavirus, aa gaya. No welcome to you. White blood cell. Thut, 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 thut. ये कौन है ना पहचान वाले, uninvited, harmful guests. You know, white blood cells have two functions. One is they attach themselves to the external coronavirus. उस पे जाके बैठ जाता है, पकड़ लिया तेरे को, तो कोरोना है, पकड़ लिया. White blood, some white blood cells just stick. ये है, ये मेरा दुश्मन है, ये मेरा दुश्मन है, ये मेरा. So they stick to all the virus. And the second part of the white blood cells are the destroyer cells. जिसको भी मार्क किया ना, वो उसको तलवार लेके मार डालेंगे. That is what the white blood cells do. Two functions. And a third function is they create antibodies. They know. Antibody is a kind of knowledge. ये अपने दुश्मन है, एक बार मार डाला है, remember, इसको अभी वापस नहीं आने देंगे. आया ना तो शुरुआत में फटक करके खत्म कर देंगे. So white blood cells, they are our major friends. And what do? Cancer, corona, whatever. बीमार हो गया, क्यों, मैंने क्या किया था, पैसा खर्चे तो ठीक हो जाऊंगा ना. असत, अचित, ananda, and we allow this damn thing to invade us even more. It harms us even more. We take the stupid idea of asat, chit, ananda as a solution instead of sat, chit, ananda as a solution. Now come back to the solution. This was done again, the Western parallel. This had come from Dr. Carl Simonton. You know how he heals cancer? Believe it or not, through love. He says cancer can be healed through love. It doesn't make sense. A topmost cancer specialist saying, I am and I can heal cancer through love. And he did it. He said, okay, I will let them continue with the treatment. Some people asked him, but then why are you continuing with the treatment? He's saying, if I stop that treatment, he didn't believe in it himself. But he's saying, if I stop that treatment, the fear will become so large in the person. अभी मुझे कोई दवाई भी नहीं देता है, तो मैं मर जाऊंगा. You know, we are so hypnotized. दवाई तो लेनी ही पड़ती है, इतनी serious बीमारी और दवाई नहीं लो, तो मैं मर ही गया. So he is doing it to console the person as a what is it called? What is the word for it? वो जो गलत without medicine का गोली देते हैं ना, I can't get the word.
Placebo, I think.
Sorry? Placebo. That's right. Yeah. So it has so दवाई देते रहते हैं as a placebo effect. Okay, चलो ना तुम्हें treatment दे रहे हैं. So then the treatment तो मिल रही है ना. But he found the real treatment was love. But he found it a very difficult job. He says, I could not treat people. I was getting finished. You know what his idea of love was? Something more like Mother Teresa's. He would spend entire nights with patients. He says, I was sleeping with a young man, whole night, उठ गया तो I would get up. नहीं यार, चिंता मत कर, you'll be all right. I'm with you now. I'm a senior doctor. I know what I'm doing. I'm with you. So he tried to comfort the patients. He tried to bring them back into a state of Satchitanand just by that parallel. And if you remember the Buddhist, this concept is entirely called Karuna, caring by being at the side of the person, caring mentally, caring emotionally, caring physically. तेरे साथ में हूँ, हर जगह हर कंडीशन में मैं तेरे साथ में हूँ. And that karuna helped cure large number of patients, and that cure was permanent, because then through that they found back their Satchitanand. After that, that cure lasted. So, sorry, just a second. Yeah, I think I've covered the major part of the science, this thing. Okay, so what's the time like? Okay, so we can start towards the ending. Okay, I'll go back to a little quick sum up. Okay, what is the meaningful healing? Back to the 4 yogas. That is meaningful, long-lasting, permanent healing, and not just healing but health. It keeps you healthy. That is the beauty of it. It's health. Okay, कभी कभी भूल जाते हैं, नेगेटिव आते हैं, and negative solving is not negative का positive बन जाओ by taking medicines जो with the allopathic system is doing. सर दर्द होता है, सर दर्द बंद कर दो. अरे मगर क्यों सर दर्द हो रहा है तो सोचो ना. कैंसर हुआ, काट डालो. अरे मगर क्यों हुआ कैंसर? You don't want to think about it. बस हुआ ना, solution मार दिया. What do you know? What is radiation doing? Radiation is cutting. It's cutting with rays instead of a knife. I mean, in case you all don't know, radiation is trying to destroy the cancer cells, but along with it, it's destroying all the cells आसपास में. It's destroying the body also. So radiation is a knife which ठाट काट डालो सब कुछ. So so these methods of solving, of finding health, are actually messing up. If you have a negative, go to the okay, accept it. Okay, there is a negative. Trust God. Trust. Go back to your own Satchitanand, and that finds answers. And this is what I found. This Carl Simonton found exactly the same kind of answer. He could parallelly make people feel their own Satchitanand. He didn't use those words at all, but he made those. He did make people feel that own courage, their own thinking power, their own peacefulness, and they recovered. Large number of them recovered. Yeah, someone is saying something. I'm okay just now because we're doing more of a general thing. One wants to say, please welcome. No? Okay. Okay. Then from this you recover, and when you have recovered, you make sure you stay healthy by living in the 4 yogas, the best way to health. Live with the bhakti state, all is divine. हर जगह हर चीज में छोटे से छोटी बड़े से बड़ी हर जगह ईश्वर है. That's bhakti. I can feel Ishwar, I can feel Parmeshwar. That's bhakti. The jnana of knowing that all is oneness, knowing that Parmeshwar is everywhere, everything, in me, around me, everyone. The dhyana, meditation, focusing, can we do it right now?
I have a doubt.
Atma Shakti, Atma Buddhi, Atma Shanti, Sat Chit Anand. I am Atma Brahma. Yeah, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahma. Tattvamasi. You too. Sarvahi Etat Brahma. That is the beauty of that meditation, then which Out of the uma comes that way of living, the yoga way. And then putting into action karma yoga. Out of that spirit, when you work, everything becomes karma. You can express karma yoga in your own way. There are people who have expressed karma yoga through art, through prayer, through writing, through teaching, through drawing, anything. It doesn't matter. As long as the origin is Sachit, as long as the feeling is of server, and as long as मुझे क्या मिलेगा से करते नहीं हो, and अजीब से परिणाम मिलते even in personal life. Simple ones were serotonin मिलता है, oxytocin मिलता है, जो बाकी नहीं है. You can't get it. Only when you do the yogs you get these chemicals coming out. That is the beauty of life. You think कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है and yet you are getting the greatest gift. Okay, so last all ये सब हम बातें करें. We've been doing lots of talking. I'm getting fed up now. Next session, you have to get up and start sharing some of these things with in your family, other people, wherever you find the need. There are so many people who need to do all these things. और ये बुढ़ा अकेला क्या करेगा? I need you young people to go and share, do something. I'm with you. If you want any kind of help, any kind of suggestions, any kind of saath, materials be. I will be with you. But the sharing has to be done by you. If I do it, then it's my sharing, not your sharing. So think about sharing. And that simple way of sharing is to do it in silence. Wishing good to everyone. And of course, you have to convert it into action also. All right. So I'm going to
I have a
stop.
doubt.
I'm going to stop this, or at least pause it, I think.
Ankle did in those concentration camps. So if you choose and you start making a choice on your response or your to the surroundings, that's how it works. I mean, you may call it spiritual or you may call it training, but in the end it's all related. Like Uncle said, it's integrated, and you can actually turn around a lot of your conditions and medical conditions by just healing yourself and taking charge of the mental side of things. And I think I just wanted to say that in addition to what everybody was saying.
Thanks, Prenika. I just want to add a little one word. You mentioned psychosomatic. All right. I would like to call it spiritual psychosomatic. We think of only the mind to body, but we have to think of spirit to mind to body. Your spirit gets disrupted, and then your mind gets disrupted, and your mind gets upset, and then your body gets upset. So I think of it as spiritual psychosomatic, to use the word. Okay?
Right.
All right. Anyone else, please? Come on, waiting.
Actually, lot of sicknesses, they're being developed because of the mental issues, tension, anxiety. And if someone is blissfully happy, it's very difficult for them to fall sick. And if someone is having a lot of sickness, they have actually gone through some kind of fear or maybe negativity inside them. Some people may be just having negativity inside, and that is creating the disease. It's harming the heart, or it is harming the brain. Internally only they are just thinking. So even those who are trying to become enlightened, for example, as per the question, they go through a lot of suffering, then only they can become enlightened. So in that suffering, they may develop some disease. And then when they overcome it, I mean, especially as you said, if they are not suffering because of the disease, they have suffered mentally, emotionally because of their previous actions or reactions. And now the disease has come, but they are not even suffering because of the disease, because they are in that state of mind of Satchidanand. Then it doesn't actually matter. But they are, and then that is again a hurdle in their path of becoming enlightened, to go beyond the disease. And even these diseases will take like 20-30 years to develop, like cancer and all. So it may be growing inside their body because of all the process they were going through And probably, unless and until if somebody is having a very, very easy and simple life, and it's very difficult for them to become enlightened in that same life. If they're already enlightened when they're born, it's a different thing, because they have to go through some kind of churning, and they have to take some stand and act courageous and take the spiritual path in those situations, and then it is possible that they may transform little by little. They have to go through some suffering in terms of disease also, which could be psychological, which could be physical. Yeah, and
I think as long as it helps us to grow, it's a positive. It's not a negative. It is bringing us to a higher level of existence. So it's good for us. But of course, the quantity of suffering can vary. You know, we have a choice. We don't realize. You can have lots of suffering and then learn, or you can have a short suffering and then learn. I mean, it's like, I give you a very funny example. A child can touch something hot, very hot, get burnt, and seek jayega. No, I can't touch this. Or an idiot can go on touching it, and I will not get burnt. The choice is yours. How quickly or how slowly you want to learn. So the period of suffering is actually our choice. You want to learn out of it, learn. Jaldi se seekh jao. The degree of suffering also, we have a choice. कितना दुख सहन करना है सीखने के पहले. अगर छोटे दुख में सीख जाओगे तो नेचर से हो के सीख जाओ ना, सीख गए हो. I'm not going to force you to seek even if you have learnt the lesson. Oh, by the way, I forgot one very fascinating thing which I read in Carl Simonton's books. I don't know if any of you know of this. He says he does not know in medical science a single schizophrenic person. You know what is schizophrenic? What we call mental split personalities. He says there's not a single schizophrenic person he knows who gets cancer. I mean, it's amazing, you know. And answering his own conclusion, he says that when you have a lot of internal negatives, like we talked about non-sat, non-chit, non-anand, one of the ways of learning is to get cancer. एक थप्पड़ मिलता है ना कैंसर का, सीखने का चॉइस है, सीख सकते हो, उसमें से निकल सकते हो. That's one of the ways we can learn to get out into a higher dimension. The other way, the body releases stress. बहुत stress situation, बहुत negative situation हो गया, so the person becomes schizophrenic, split personality. कभी कभी अच्छा रहता है, कभी कभी बुरा रहता है, कभी कभी एकदम sensible बनता है, कभी कभी एकदम stupid बन जाता है. It's basically schizophrenia. The third release, which is equally interesting, of अंदर के stress, is to go into crime, violence, harming other people. दुनिया मुझे परेशान करती है, जाके मैं भी सबको मारूं, मैं भी हैरान करूं. That's a third way of releasing stress. So he's enumerating 3 ways. One is cancer and such sicknesses. They are more like physical sicknesses. The mind sickness, where the mind gets into 2 pieces. And the third is बाकी दुनिया पे मेरी sickness डालूं. I act violent, aggressive, criminal towards the outside world. All 3 causes are inside. Non-Satchit Anand inside. That is the cause. Yeah, okay. So come on. Anyone else again?
So I ask myself, we all know we all have to die, however you want to die. So here in Germany, there are people who are really scared of Corona. So then I told them, I mean, they asked me what are my views about Corona, and I said, well, if I had a choice between Corona and cancer, I would choose Corona. Yeah, in the sense that I don't want to suffer long, but the thing is, since we all have to die, might as well enjoy the time that we have here and accept that death will come. And okay, I'm not trying to say that you need to commit suicide or you need to give up, but not to be controlled by fear before even getting the sickness, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what I missed from you is I couldn't get the name of the guy who you said Carl.
Dr. Carl, Carl,
Yes.
Simonton, Simonton, Simonton.
Simonton. Okay.
Happen once in a month or something, but the remaining time it's not happening. People are just trying to move on. So either meditation, yoga, we all know all these things, but alternative therapies I find very, very good for this. So if you take any of those, like acupressure has a very good tool set. You can just do acupressure tool set every day. It will just release the accumulation of emotions, accumulation of any negativity in your body, and it will just keep you running. So, I mean, I have a lot more suggestions, but I'll not take so much time. So basically, if you can do these 2-3 things, at least every day you should have some time for acupressure tools or, yoga, some exercise and meditation. So little by little, every day, morning and evening, not even once a day, twice a day. So probably that will, main thing is to keep your flows happening, flow of blood, flow of energy, okay, and nervous system flows. So when they get stagnated, then the problem is becoming bigger. So even in cancer or any other disease, the main problem is that stagnation is happening at a particular point because the flow is not happening properly. So there are very simple, these tools are there in acupressure, which are called rollers, hand roller, foot roller. If you can get 1 or 2 of them, and rings, just keep pressing them or rubbing them on your hands twice a day, or if not possible once a day. It just helps to keep the body flowing, the energy flowing.
And there is a meaning behind it which we touched upon. In India, they call it flow of prana. In Chinese, the acupressure system derives itself from the flow of qi, the universal energy. You are blocking the universal energy, so the acupressure relieves the blockage of universal energy. I mean, that's what I know of acupressure. And thereby starts healing you, because you're not blocking the flow. You're allowing the flow of nature.
Right. Actually, I want to speak. This is Rashmi.
Yeah, please.
From what Varun asked, something triggered in me, and I want to say, I have been kind of, going up and down. I just want to share how am I managing myself. Definitely, I think there are a lot of things that you have to manage. Meditation, yoga, and physical part is there, which needs to be taken care. But also, I think the 4 yogas that you talk about, the Jnana yoga, the Raja yoga, so all the 4 yogas that you talk about, that we have to take care of the community also. That we are engaging with, all the people that we are engaging with, and also self-learning. Where is my curiosity going? What am I engaging myself also? Also, what am I learning? Is am I doing what am I really wanting to do? And what am I doing in what am I in doing what I'm doing? What am I really doing? So if we just focus on these premier questions.